So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to those people who are joining in and listening to the recording. And we're all calling it at different times. And this session is on working in supervision with psychological safety, trauma, and team coaching. So I just want you to notice what happens when I say that. Just notice in your body, like working in supervision with psychological safety and trauma in team coaching. Just notice what happens to your body. And just turning on your unmuting, and just saying a word that comes up through your body when you feel into the topic of this discussion.
Chills.
Chills. Yeah, thank you, Sunny.
When I hear trauma, I feel a tightening in my body.
Right. Yeah, there's a tightening that happens. Thanks, Sinchu.
I feel the gut is uncomfortable when I hear this.
Yeah.
There is discomfort in the gut.
Right. Some discomfort in the gut. Thank you, Jaya.
For me, the teams part feels like it's in the head, and the other part, psychological safety and trauma, feels like it's in the body.
Right.
So I feel split in a way.
Split. Lovely.
I have the sense.
Do you want to go, Judy, and then I'll come to you, Kendra?
I was kind of in a rush, and Leanne's question made me feel like I'm kind of settled a bit by bit.
Right. Yeah, you rushed, and then the question, you landed. Lovely. Thank you, Judy. Kendra?
I have this feeling in the middle of my three fingers on my left hand, all of a sudden, like this sharp, kind of a, not super painful, but just like a sensation, which was really strange when it got to the psychological safety and trauma. Weird.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Kendra.
I had an image of a zoo.
A zoo.
A zoo. Yeah. Wild animals in a zoo.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
I felt like a bull in China shop.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all. This topic brings up a lot. Psychological safety, trauma, team coaching, supervision. Like, it's complex, all of those systems. And so I became interested. So I became a coaching supervisor in 2006. And at that stage, I was working for a charity that was running rehabilitation services in prisons for people who were addicted to drugs and alcohol. And I was a psychotherapist, so I was training drug counselors, but I was also training drug workers on coaching. And I was also working with teams of drug workers and teams of counselors in prison. And I was also doing a lot of supervision. And I became really fascinated and curious and interested in the play between safety and trauma. Like, some people would get into prison and feel safe. Other people would go into prison and feel very traumatized. For the prisoners and for the workers, And there were some teams that would come together and feel very safe as they held these communities. And there were some teams that felt very unsafe, and some of the teams became more traumatized than the actual prisoners. So it was just this complex kind of multifaceted system of trauma and safety, and how we regulate and co-regulate. And since then, I've been working more in corporates, and I work for a company called Accenture, and we have a tool that measures psychological safety in teams. And so I became very interested, and I've been doing, since the pandemic, all through the pandemic, a lot of work with teams using this tool of like, how safe is this team in the moment? And noticing a lot more teams were in apathy, which is kind of low safety, low motivation to change, because it makes sense if a team is in fear, like low safety, but highly motivated to change, or in comfort, which is high safety, but low motivation. But I was curious about this dimension, which was low safety, but low motivation to change it, to actually move and to feel more safe, or to do anything to change this team. And the label that this psychologically safe measurement gives it as apathy, which is this feeling of kind of apathetic. And so I started working with Thomas Hubel, and I've been training for the last 4 years around ancestral and collective trauma. And through him, I've met Stephen Porges, who does a lot of work around the polyvagal theory. So just to contextualize my journey to here, and what I'm hoping for us for the next 45 minutes is really to kind of go on a bit of journey around what is this topic. Yeah, I can tell you, Jaya, that the assessment tool, I can tell you a tiny bit more about that in a minute. So thank you for that question. And I see Carolyn is joining us. Hi, Carolyn. So it's perfect timing, Carolyn, because what I want us to do now is to go into a breakout and kind of look at some. And so for this next 45 minutes, we're going to go on a journey around psychological safety, trauma, team coaching, supervision. What does all of that mean? So it's just an inquiry. We're going to explore together and learn. And I'm totally interested and fascinated and curious about this topic, as you are, because you all came here. So I want us to start the conversation. And I'm staying with my mother, so I've only have one screen. So I'm going to try and manage my one screen and sharing. Oh, yeah, I managed it. Oh, I remember how to do it before I had 2 screens. So can everybody see this? What is feeling safe for you? How do you know you feel safe? How do you know when you're activated? And what brings you the feeling of safety and activation in a group? So we're going to go into a breakout for 10 minutes. Let me put that in the chat. I'm going to stop my share. I'm going to put that in the chat. Oh, hi, Naveen. Lovely.
Hi, Lynn. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I am Damien for today. I'm hosting and running this session because Damien isn't here, and he emailed me to say that you want to announce something to this group at the end of the session. So I know that. So just so that you know. But right now we're going to go into breakouts and kind of discuss this. So let me just pull up a breakout room and put you all into breakouts. Just in pairs for 10 minutes. We're just gonna chat about this topic. Are there any questions? I will see you in 10. Let me do it for 8 minutes because I'm just aware that there are other things I want to talk about. So let's do 8 minutes, just sharing. We'll see you. And Carolyn's just said you can't turn your camera on or your mic. Carolyn, is that correct? So I might put the person in Carolyn's room. So one room will be 3. She's correct. Okay, I'm gonna move that person. So there'll be one room of 3. Okay, see you in 8 minutes.
Oh,
You can.
it's something,
You're
something
here.
changed. Yes, it's good.
So do you want to go into a breakout? Andrea? Welcome back. Welcome back. Hi, Marge. So we've got Marge joining us. Lovely to see you, Marge. Welcome. So everybody was just in a breakout room, Marge, talking about what feeling safe was for you and how you know when you feel activated and what happens around safety and activation in a group. So what did you learn by exploring this together? It's a dense topic that I only gave you 8 minutes for, so it was, I imagine you just kind of scratched the surface. Kendra.
We learned that we should have asked you what activated me.
Okay, that's great. What did you think it meant? What did you...
Well, I thought it was the opposite of safety, but then Judy, you chime in with what you, I think, figured out, which makes more sense.
Judy, what did you think it meant?
I said I assume activation is something that, like, when I feel safe, I feel like give it go, and I feel like I would like to move and take action or feel energized to have a try. So this is how I understand activation. But
Good question.
Kendra, when she raised this question, asked me what is the meaning of activate, I found that, we are talking about psychological, safety. Do I not feeling safe that I didn't ask that question? So, but I think I'm not 100% sure, but I'm 90%, sure about the meaning. So I didn't bother to ask.
Lovely. Lovely. I love it. I love this exploration. Alex, we can't hear you, Alex.
This is strange because my volume is almost the max. Now
Okay, we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Okay. So our group had the same question, that activation activated of what? And Shinchu came up with two interpretation, one positive like Judy's, and not positive one is that doesn't mean that, when we feel triggered. So we actually divide the two possible scenarios, and we mostly stick to the positive one as Judy's group.
Lovely. So activated could mean getting into action, and activated could mean so there's a positive association with activated and there's a negative association with activated. Lovely. Lovely. Anything else?
I share something. When I was in a room waiting for other people to join, Naveen was with me. And before Kendra came in, Naveen just disappeared. Then I don't know why, but in the end, I'm only with Kendra in that like 8 minutes. So when we are coming back to the big room, I receive a message from a private message from Naveen saying, okay, I was pushed to another room, but good to meet you. Wow, it makes me feel very safe and comfortable. I didn't anticipate he will messages me about that.
I love that. I love that, Judy. This is a beautiful example that we had right in real time of when our system feels, because like activated is when your nervous system starts to feel like there's a chick that it turns on. Like safety is when we are kind of calm and relaxed, and then activated is when there is a turn on. And sometimes that can be a positive and sometimes it can be a negative. Let me speak for a couple of minutes about Stephen Porges's work, and then we'll talk some more, because I think this might help you. So does anybody know Stephen Porges's work on polyvagal theory? Okay, briefly, Carolyn. Okay, let me share this. And there's a ton that you can read on the network. He's quite prolific in his writing. He's a scientist. And he's come up, and this is let me show you what his kind of, I'm going to share my screen, and then we're going to go and talk about it some more. So I'm only going to share for 2 or 3 minutes. So can everybody see this? This comes out of his research, that we have this nerve, the ventral vagal, which basically is connected throughout our whole system. And when we're connected and we feel safe and oriented to the environment, then we feel in the present, we feel grounded, we feel curious, we feel open, we feel compassionate, we feel mindful. We're kind of available, like Naveen sent a message to Judy saying, sorry, I got bumped into another room, and Judy could feel her ventral vagal system relax. And it's kind of that place that we have when we feel, we laugh, some of you might be feeling it right now, like kind of relaxed and open. And then something happens and we get activated. And I'm curious that there was some people experience activation in a positive way. But mostly in his research, he talked about activation in a negative way. And some of you know this, fight, flight, freeze, that this is just the way that he has it. So we move into flight, we move into fight, our sympathetic nervous system gets activated, that kind of sense of alert, fear, like, and then once it stays activated, we move into this dorsal vagal place, which is a place of freeze. And the interesting thing about this place is that some people can go to the dorsal vagal system very quickly. They pass through fight and flight and go to freeze very quickly. Others go there after a period of time of freeze. And so when the war in Ukraine broke out, I was working with a lot of teams in Poland. And a lot of the teams that I was working with in Warsaw, I had a lot of Ukrainian people from Ukraine in those teams. And a lot of them experienced this freeze. They were so panicked about their family and trying to get their family out that they went to this kind of hopeless, shut down, numb place. And they would tell me that they were there, but they couldn't activate. They were shut. And so the interesting thing about his research, which is this, he talks about this. Outside the realm of conscious awareness, our nervous system is continuously evaluating risk in the environment, making judgments and setting priorities for behaviors that are adaptive. Now, some of you know this, there's a part in our nervous system that's always scanning the environment and is getting us ready. This may not be new. And so these processes occur without our awareness and without our conscious mental processes that we attribute to the executive functions involved in decision making. So some of you know this, the kind of executive functions, all of this stuff is happening beyond our awareness and beyond our conscious processing. And now this is the piece that I think is extraordinarily interesting for me and for us and teams. Only when we are in the calm physiological state can we convey cues of safety to another. So when we're calm, other people read our bodies and then they go, oh, it's okay here. However, people with impaired social engagement systems are prone to misinterpret safety as a threat and an objective danger as safety. Hence why some of the people that were going into prisons felt safe in prisons, even though that system is actually quite unsafe. So their visceral feedback system fails to protect them or prevents them from engaging in the fullness of what life has to offer. Any questions? Because you may know that, like when you meet people and they behave like contrary to what you would think. And so sometimes as team coaches, this isn't about team coaching, it's about supervision. You can go in and you think you're creating a safe environment, and actually it can be activating for somebody in the room. Has anybody had that experience? When some people are nodding. So you think that you're doing everything right, and then somebody gets activated in a room, and you're like, wow, what happened? And how our systems are all very different when it comes to what we interpret as safety and what we interpret as a threat. So the challenge for us, as I'm going to share my screen again, as
I think
so
Suni
what
was
is
reading. Leanne,
oh,
I think
Suni, I did not see you, Suni.
It's okay.
You want to...
No, go ahead. I can. It's fine. I was just going to interject a little bit, but go ahead with what you're going through, Leanne. It's
Great.
fine.
Yeah, great. So our ability to emotionally regulate, our ability to emotionally self-regulate, and then our practice is to notice our activation and regulate, becoming a co-regulating instrument, using our nervous system to allow others to co-regulate. And then having the sensitivity to notice fear and trauma and the curiosity to ask, what might this be touching for them? So what arises, sorry, I'm just pulling you back. So what arises for you when, I'll put those into the chat, what arises for you? And Suni, please.
Well, I
jump in.
think this theory has a lot of presumptions to it, because you're starting out saying that most people feel safe. And I was sharing with Helen in our breakout room that this is a very interesting topic for me because I rarely feel safe. So I don't come into it, looking or noticing activation because the safety isn't there in the first place. So, and I've done a lot of thinking and just my own interpretation of this issue of comfort and discomfort. There's so much complexity going on with feeling, but as you know, being more aware of the somatic responses for you as an individual, whether it's your heartbeat or whether it's your hands becoming calm, palmy, sweaty, whatever, a tension in your shoulders or your body can help you know where you are. So that in and of itself can help you, you're using the word co-regulate, but move yourself, because I think it's a continuum of comfort and discomfort. And it can be one word that can trigger something, which you're saying is activation, things like an amygdala hijack. And I've had that experience where I just, was outside the room. I wasn't present any longer. But my awareness of that has helped me co-regulate, which is what you're saying. And I think as a supervisor, I've come up with this term called fail-safe. It's a backup. One of the things that Helen talked about was being internally safe and being externally safe. Those are two different things for her. And I appreciate that too. The question is, how do you manage those feelings, and how can you better manage where you are as an individual, because that affects everyone else. It affects the environment, it affects, others.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Absolutely. I totally agree. Like, where are we? Where are we? And where are you right now? Like, just noticing right now, where are you?
I think for me, I'm where I usually am, which is not feeling safe. So that becomes a norm. Like you were talking about the individuals, the prisoners that you are working with. And I think it's not so much that they feel safer in prison, which maybe that's how it's interpreted. It's just the lack of safety has become such a norm. That kind of trauma becomes every day.
Yes.
And so it's not that they feel safe. They're just more prepared. Their awareness is heightened to a point where they have some better degree of control than the average person in that environment.
Yes. Yes, and this is exactly what Stephen Paul just talks about, that this is happening outside our nervous system, that there is this, we're continuously evaluating the risk. And so even the word safety activated, it becomes like such a continuum. And we have these buckets, but the first one is like, where are we? What is our ability to co-regulate? And how do we find a place of what Stephen Porges calls it is social engagement. He doesn't use the word psychological safety, but a lot of people use that word because it's become common parlance to describe a team and to describe where we're supposed to be in this place of safety. But actually so many of us come into this with a different orientation. So I love what you're saying, Sonny. How do we, and our role as coach supervisors is going back to the first one, is how do we, our ability to emotionally self-regulate? What are our practices to notice our activation and regulate? And then how do we co-regulate? And then having the sensitivity to notice the fear and trauma in somebody else, like, and what is that? And the curiosity to ask. Because oftentimes when we sense something in somebody else, we defend. Like, I know I defend. So somebody comes to me with a defense mechanism, and then I get activated into mine. And then I judge, and then I put up a barrier, and then I am activated by whatever's happening for them. I'm activated back. And so then there's just this kind of hardness. And so my ability to go, oh, I wonder, to be able to regulate and wonder what's here. And this is not a one and done or something. It's a continuous process, as Sunny was talking about, continually noticing, where am I? What's happening for me? What's my baseline? I loved what you said that, Sunny. You know what your baseline is. And where am I in this moment? So I want to put us back into breakouts to kind of make it real. So just putting it into, I'm going to put you back into breakouts for another like 6 minutes, and I'm going to recreate them, and I'm going to put you into pairs again. And just making this real for yourself. Like, I'm just moving. Like, what is coming up for you as you think about this? It's a big topic. We've had 45 minutes together about this topic. You've heard from me, from Sunny, from your own body, from your pair. Like, what is coming up for you now about this? And there may be more questions and answers. This is just an open conversation about starting to explore this. So we're going to go into this breakout for 6 minutes. Just what's coming, 7 minutes, what's coming up for you now? Everybody ready? What's coming up for you now?
Leanne, is it possible I can show you something that I developed? Is there someone waiting for me in a breakout room?
There is.
It's only one person, so they're waiting for me to be two, or is there three?
Yeah, let me move somebody to be with them so that we can chat. Let me just move. Oh my God, I moved Naveen again. Bless him. No, that's good. No, I didn't. I moved Marge. No, we're good. Yeah, hang on. Let me. So we only have a few minutes left, and it would be great to hear from everybody. So I'm going to invite us all to put into the chat, what's percolating in your mind? Like, these are big topics: safety, activation, trauma, team coaching, supervision, like big topics. And we've just touched on them in the last 45 minutes. So where are you now? What are you leaving with? If you put it into the chat, it would be lovely to hear from everybody.
Can I pitch it? Helen, can I say something?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think my underlying feeling in this conversation was that when we speak about safety or we say, are you feeling safe? Itself creates the feeling of unsafety. The antenna goes up
Yeah.
saying, what's wrong? What's going on?
Yeah.
Why is this question?
Yeah.
Mm.
Lovely.
So the
Lovely.
conversation of safety itself is very unsafe.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Interesting.
And Carolyn's written the importance of self-regulation as the basic condition that creates safety in the room. And I love what you were saying, Jaya, about the word safety, like our relationship to that word. And then what does that word mean? And what's my baseline? And this word safety is even, what does safety actually mean? That's like we started off, like, what is safety to you? And there was like, there's probably 12 different versions of safety. And we behave like there is one definition of safety, and that's a place we've got to get to. And Suni talked about, she's got a continuum. Suni, do you want to say a couple of sentences about that? Because I thought that was
I was
interesting.
just sharing with Leanne that I presented at the American Supervision Network a couple of years ago, and it got me on this path of, I developed a continuum of comfort and discomfort, and that we have the ability, depending on our awareness, to move or slide along that continuum. If somatically we're aware of what's happening, our body speaks to us. And that awareness means you could move quickly from one end of comfort to discomfort to back again. But if we're aware of that, then the next step is being able to, in conversation, articulate and verbalize where you are, what's happening with you. That in and of itself moves you. So that's having the tools to be able to move and cross over this judgment divide that we all have.
Thank you. What else? Does anybody put in the chat or come off mute just to say how you're leaving? It'd be lovely to either everybody to put in the chat something, or if you'd prefer to come off the mute, just what is the thing you're leaving with? These sessions are often stimulate thinking or questions or curiosities that people go out and want to do work on. So Suni, you've said there is so much more work to do, and the journey of leaning into discomfort must always be towards growth. Yes, thank you. What else?
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't. I was with Helen, in the second round, and to be honest, we didn't talk about this topic. What comes up, because I found she looks like one of my contacts in the social media, and never spoke with each other, never met in person. I just didn't want to pretend I don't know you, so I asked and jumped to the question. So I decided to check with Helen, and we end up with a lot of chit chat, which is nice.
Lovely. Well, this is the purpose also of this network, is to meet and get to know people and be here with each other, stimulating. And I'm aware that Naveen, I want to pass it to you because Naveen has something really quickly. I know we're a minute over, but I also want to pass it to you, Naveen, to make your announcement.
Cool. So if you're end of the time and if people are still waiting, thank you so much for spending some extra minute. Since I don't have much time, I will not get into full details, but I just want to quickly brief that we all know that Asia is going through unprecedented growth, right? With economics expanding, new opportunities emerging across different sectors in different countries. The leaders needs to capitalize these growth opportunities. And we thought leveraging the transformative power of coaching is the best way to do. So myself, Himani and Sunanda, who are part of ICF Delhi chapter, I think, and Masai, part of ICF Japan chapter, we came together and we created a conference to bridge the worlds of leadership as well as the coaching, especially focusing on Asian continent. And this is a completely a virtual conference. I will probably quickly give you guys um, a link. You guys can
Lovely.
you all can look into that. But this conference is completely virtual, and we are bringing bridging the gap basically when it comes to the power of coaching by leaders, how they can use it, and how coaches can help leaders to improve the overall organizational effectiveness basically. That's one thing. And second is, this is also a first step where we want to create a dynamic platform where we continue to bring the leaders and as well as the coaches who are providing the coaching services in the area of leadership, team coaching, or improving the culture of organizations. We want to continue to create this platform where these leaders and coaches can interact, share the latest and greatest strategies, the tools for the leaders to improve their skills as well as improve the organizational effectiveness. At the same time, the coaches can also learn from the leaders of what challenges they are facing when the economies are going through this unprecedented growth, and work with the different coaches to come up with more tools and techniques so you can help the leaders. That's all about this platform, and the conference is the first one. For our noble cause, Joel was very kind. Joel, who leads the ICF research, Joel Di Guillermo, he was very kind to bring his research, and he's part of the keynote. Basically, he's going to talk about the impact of coaching on organizational success. And the other keynote will be done by the Kaylee. She's coming from a HR background, and she's a business partner for the global HR based out of the London, working for Tate and Lyle. And they're all going to talk about the coaching research and how the really coaching has helped the organization. And then the rest of the conference is like 3.5 days. We try to keep it 3.5.
Naveen, I'm aware that some of the people might need to be leaving, and I think is everything in your on the website?
I'm going to take like 30 seconds, Lane, if you don't mind.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
That's great.
thank you. Thank you
Thanks.
for your patience. Yeah. So the next 3 days basically is a half day. It's not like a full day conference. We know the leaders are busy, right? We cannot get the leaders for a conference because they have a lot of larger responsibilities. And second, our target is CXOs. Basically, that's why we kept it as 3 half days. The schedule is there, but a lot of good people are coming, right, from ICF coaching, ICF foundation, and we have some people coming from ICF Malaysia. Jeff is also coming there. A lot of good people are put on their minds and brains to create this conference. I know we are out of the time. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to leave the LinkedIn page. A lot of announcements are gone through that. You can follow for the next 3 weeks before the conference starts. And thank you everyone for sparing your extra minutes here.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Naveen. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. What a great session. And Sophia, I see you've just joined.
Yeah, I guess I said I read 2 p.m. So now this is 2 p.m.
Yes.
But obviously it's the time is not.
Yes, I saw that, and I did ping Damien. I think there was a miscalculation in the I'm so sorry. I can stay on for a couple of minutes with you, Sophia, and connect. And I just want to wish everybody a really good afternoon, morning, day. And Naveen, I'm wishing you a really good conference. Thank you, everybody. See you again soon.